Hello, everyone. I'm just introducing my book, A Beginner's Guide to Chinese Astrology, which has been a culmination of a lot of work over the years. I started studying Ba Tze, Four Pillars Chinese Astrology back in 2002 when I was undertaking my Chinese medical degree. And I love this subject. So my understanding of it has evolved quite a bit over the last 20 years now. And I've been fortunate because I found a very good mentor who's been able to help me work out things that I was having trouble with years ago. And it's very hard to get good information on Ba Tze Chinese astrology. So a lot of people are familiar with their animal signs, all this kind of thing. But I decided to write this book primarily because I wanted to have a kind of a teaching manual it's like in adjunct to my online fundamentals Chinese astrology course, which I've just got going on there. I wrote this book because I was able to add further depth into charts. So it's a bit of an adjunct to the course. And I did my best to try and show people what Chinese astro is all about without making it too heavy. And so let me just share my screen because this will be a better place to start. And this all has what we got here, The Beginner's Guide to Chinese Astrology, which I titled this work. I've got it in PDF format. I was going to produce it into hard copies, but I just wanted to make it more accessible for people who are overseas and things like this. And, you download the PDF and bang, it's yours. You've got it there. And this book will give you a good outline into understanding what a chart's really all about. Because most people don't know what four pillars charts are about. And most people are familiar with planetary astrology, which I practice. I do Hellenistic astrology. I love that subject as well. But I also love Ba Tze, Four Pillars astrology. So this is one of my passions. And I chose to really kind of teach this because I enjoy teaching this subject. I think it's great fun. And also it is not as well practiced. Not many people know as much about it as, say, planetary astrology. So I think it's a little bit of a niche market, a unique one, and a fascinating one at the same time. And so let's just, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through my, I've got a bit of a preface going on there, but show you the table of contents and what's involved in my book here. So chapter 1's an introduction to the subject, Ba Tze. I've got chapter 2, Xing on the 5 elements, which we need to understand for the Ba Tze. It's critical. And the stems and branches as well, which are the yin and yang counterparts of the 5 elements, that being yang fire, yin fire, as an example, or yang water, yin water. And we've got the branches, and everyone's familiar with the branches because everyone knows the year they're born in, whether they're an ox, dog, rooster, so to speak. And we've got chapter 4s are heavenly stem personality types, which gets more into the psychological understanding of the 5 elements, which is key to understand, particularly in relation to the day master of the self element, what they call, which is the pivotal point of chart interpretation. Then I've got a chapter on keys to chart interpretation. And I go into the types of charts. And the types of charts are dominant, follow output, follow wealth, follow resource, follow power, and competitive sibling rival charts. So I go through 6 chart types with 5 examples of people who have been out in the public eye. So, and in the book, I go into quite a bit more detail into the charts as opposed to the course, because the course I'm really just training people's eye to pick out these types of charts, which you can learn from this book as well. But there's a lot more extra kind of info in terms of chart analysis in this. And then we follow it with the Sexagenary cycle, which is the 60-year cycle, which is important to understand. And then I've thrown in symbolic stars. Now, the symbolic stars, I haven't thrown them all in because it's just a monumental task. But I picked out some key ones to put in because the more advanced you get into Ba Tze, the more there are of special configurations, which can be quite mind-blowing once you start really going down that rabbit hole. But in essence, this is what this book really is all about: understanding these types of 6 type of charts, and there's some good examples of people in the public eye, like I said. So I might just scroll down here and show you a little bit of, sorry, I'm just screening through here so you can see quite clear. I've got some clear diagrams of the stem and branches. This is just of the earth type. This is in the chapter of the psychological personality component of the 5 elements. And there's some good diagrams of each. One's here, there's the water. And so there's 22 characters we really need to understand. It's not that many. Some people can look at it, looks impressive to some people who don't understand Chinese, and they think, oh, how the hell am I going to remember this? But it's actually very, very easy to apply to memory. You know, chart interpretation is all about pattern recognition. That's all it is. And this is the wood element. And I think I've got a few, what else have we got going on? Chapter 5, keys to chart interpretation, which is critical. And so we go through favorable and unfavorable elements, the self element, the day master, the pivotal points. We talk about all this stuff: intelligence element, output element, the wealth element. These are the power elements, the resource element. So this is what they call, they're the key kind of 5 components of charts we need to understand. And then I've got the 5 elements of life. So I've got clear diagrams of what this 5 element cycle is all about here. So for example, if your self element's earth element, then your intelligence element's going to be metal. And then water element is going to be your wealth element, your wood element, power element, and 5 elements. Fire element will be your resource element. And that's for an earth type day master, which I go through. So you can be any one of these. You can be, say, a metal element day master. So your metal element represents your self element. Then your intelligence element will be the water element, the money element, the wood element, the fire element, the power element, and the earth element, your resource element. So it all changes depending on what your day master is, which is the self element. And I talk about all this stuff in the course and in this book. And with references to, of course, you need a 1,000-year calendar, one of the ancient Chinese calendars. So I've got links for all those. And there's also a link to one of my videos on here about how to construct a 4 pillars chart. It's one of my YouTube videos. So it gives you that's one example. In my course, I've got another 3, which is important to understand that, because it's very important to understand to do it from the calendar, because it gets you to understand the flow of elements and how it all sinks in. So these are the types of charts I talk about: dominant, competitive, follow output, power, follow money, follow resource. Dominant charts, and I go through the 5 elements for these, and the competitive, I talk a little bit about those in just a little bit more detail. And then for those who don't know what a 4 pillars chart, this is what it looks like. That's Bill Gates's chart. I mentioned him, but this is just an example of the luck cycles. And what else have we got here? So Dave Chappelle. So this is when I get into the This is what I wanted to show you guys. The first dominant charts we go through. Dave Chappelle. This is what the 4 pillars chart really is all about. So we've got the year pillar, the month pillar, the day pillar, and the hour pillar. This is the Yangwood Day Master. This is the pivotal point, the self element. This is where we get into branching off the whole 4 pillars chart based on this. And he's considered dominant water. Let's just do a quick example of this as the thinking in Chinese astrology. So he's considered dominant water. The water element's his predominant, most favorable element. Why? Because he has a partial water element combination between the dragon and the monkey. So he's using water element, and his day master's water, so that makes him very strong in the water element. So he's considered dominant metal. And we have the hidden stems and branches in here. And these are the life cycles we move through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And depending on what age you are, you're going to move through this. So the stems at the top here are the first 5 years, and the branches at the bottom are the next 5 years. So here, the goat here, or the sheep, will be 10 years, 10 to 15. Then to 15, he goes into the yang earth. And then when he's 20, he goes into the horse. And I go through the favorable elements there. And then I elaborate a little bit about his chart. Not too long-winded, but, you know, some key components there about his chart. And then, so this is basically it. And I've got 5 examples of each, plus I also have down the end, I go through right into symbolic stars, the Sexagenary cycle. But we go through quite a few celebs in here, and you'll get a good rundown of their personality types, and you can see why they're successful and why they've kind of, well, successful right out in the public eye, so to speak. That doesn't mean you're not, I mean, the celebs sometimes are the best examples, but I just chose to use celebrities in this one. And I'm thinking about doing another book, particularly on more health case studies and stuff like this. But first up, for learning purposes, I think it's good to see the celebrity examples, because you can actually see their actual successes, so to speak. And yeah, so this is basically my book. And like I said, it's an adjunct to the course. There's quite a few. Who else do I go through? Wilhelm Reich, great psychologist. We go through quite a few. I think, yeah, Marilyn Monroe, her chart's very interesting too. So there's quite a few. These are dominant types. She's dominant metal. Just so the next, yeah, Kurt Cobain. So this is a 4 pillars chart. This is what it's involved. And yeah, so for those interested, yeah, I mean, you can purchase my book. It's pretty cool. I'm happy with the outcome of this, even though I kind of keep combing through, I find errors. So I've cleaned it up as best as I can. But someone who purchased it, I had to just give them another copy, because there's a few things that weren't just a little bit out of place. It's very hard with, I mean, this was actually a real challenge for me to do this book, because of all the Chinese characters, actually. And then when I tried to produce it, things were just going out of sync. There's a few things that just went out of sync I had to fix up. So, but yeah, so this is my little snapshot of my book. And I love the subject, 4 pillars of destiny, Chinese astrology. It's an amazing subject, and it's useful on so many levels. It's useful for people who are not just practitioners, people who are interested, people who are business people who are interested in personalities. They want to find out more information about their family, their children, their friends, their colleagues, even employees. There's some employees who who are interested in studying this stuff to work out. And, you know, it's gold stuff to understand as a business owner, actually, particularly when you employ people, because then you'll know what's a good position for people to do within your business. So anyway, this is a small snapshot of my book, Beginner's Guide to Chinese Astrology. And yeah, thank you for listening.